Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series for the 23rd of August, 1986. We return from the Sportatorium. Small note that there is a Kerry Von Erich highlight match here, probably from about 1982 to 83, as one of the Super Destroyers is part of it. I did not watch that because it was a rerun aspect, and they just want to keep Kerry on the forefront of people's minds. They only do it once, though. They do not do it for the next several months. So kind of odd. Maybe there was a match they couldn't use or something. A bit of filler. Anyway, a returning masked man by the name of Castro is your opponent for Zulu here. Zulu, a larger African American fellow who manages to go right to town on his adversary here, get some clotheslines, some headbutts, and really goes to work on the man from an early perspective. Zulu is around for quite a while, at least the next several months, and really gobbles up this masked returning star. Maybe not a star, but a guy who passing through whatever. Big boot, clotheslines, and the like. Zulu is treated like they want to do something with him. Doesn't necessarily have everything necessary, but it's also clear that they want to get something out of the guy. A big bear hug and a large cell win with the bear hug in less than 5 minutes for Zulu. As we move to a secondary match, Gary Hart presents Abdullah the Butcher. I believe they're in Reunion Arena, or at least another arena. Abdullah the Butcher and Bruiser Brody. Obviously, this is not going to be a technical masterpiece. It's not meant to be. Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, a feud that when I was first doing tape trading 20 years ago, this was a popular series of matches. As Brody, and here's something to think about. 3 years from Brody's murder is where we are here. Imagine if Bruiser Brody had been around during the Monday Night Wars. I wonder what that would have been like. Anyway, Brody comes in, goes heads up with Abdullah the Butcher. Butcher does not want to leave his feet, but eventually does after taking a few shots. We're less than 60 seconds, 90 seconds into the match, and Butcher already bleeding at least a little bit, although the scar tissue on his head does not help him not to bleed for any stretch of the imagination. They go to the outside of the ring. Gee, big surprise. They brawl around on the outside. Butcher gets Brody back in, takes a cheap shot at him, and also uses some weaponry along the way. Abdullah the Butcher is a guy who makes the majority of his money in Japan, but does have a good run with Brody here in Texas for several months. And Brody's busted wide open. They go, and I mean, when you're talking bloody, Brody is gushing blood about 5 minutes into the match. One thing for Abdullah the Butcher, he does not wrestle long matches. They go outside the ring and brawl around the crowd. Brody grabs a steel chair from the ringside area, brawls around with the Butcher, sends him into, I guess they're in a rodeo arena or some other larger arena type thing, because they brawl behind a doorway. Actually, this is the first Abdullah the Butcher and Brody match I've seen. Brody goes out behind a doorway, comes back with a board, maybe not a 2x4, smaller than a 2x4, but manages to hit Abdullah the Butcher with the board several times. If you're into the more hardcore stuff, they're doing that. They're doing that in 1986 here. Brody shot after shot with the board. Referee loses all control. And I mean, Abdullah is not looking very strong. Abdullah's busted open, gets hit several times with a board. Switch and Brody gets nailed with aboard as well. We see several stars come down, enhancement talents come down to try and help Bruiser Brody. The match is out of control. Match is thrown out. This is the classic ECW style brawl, years before the promotion exists, and still nothing is settled. This eventually, in a few months, leads to a Brody versus Abdullah in a cage, but that's where it all leads. We do end up talking about that in the months to come. Anyway, the Ultimate Warrior, aka in this era, known as the Dingo Warrior, in your next contest. Dingo Warrior with white face paint and tassel this time. And yes, he does have tassels even here. 238 pounds against Chris Adams. Adams is the 238 pounder, not the Warrior, by the way. And I do believe the championship is on the line. Percy Pringle is seconding the Warrior, I guess, because of the alliance, the hatred for Rude. I don't really know what the deal is there. Or Percy Pringle is actually just out to cut a promo saying that Rude deserves the shot and not the Warrior. Not necessarily seconding anybody. So Warrior is out here and he is ready to go to war. Unfortunate if you are Chris Adams. Adams not given much time to prepare as he gets jumped from behind by the Warrior. Warrior ends up taking Adams up into chokeholds and the like. Also snatches him for a press slam, which is unpleasant if you're on the receiving end of it. And when I say snatches, not doing so safely. It is Adams who manages to get Warrior spinning to the outside of the ring. A forearm by Adams and does not rock him, but the super kick does. Warrior goes through the middle ropes awkwardly to the outside of the ring. Adams goes to the outside for a minute. Warrior comes back in, and Adams manages or tries to manage to get a pile driver on the Warrior and does. Warrior does not sell that move virtually at all. He rolls around a bit, but there's no pain in selling. A high cross body attempted from the top, and the Warrior drops him. I mean, if you like Botchamania, he just drops him and then picks him up to do a hot shot across the top rope. Warrior in control, mainly because it is Adams making him look like $1,000,000. Long 2 count by the Warrior off that hot shot. Adams goes to the outside, I think, because he wants to regain his composure. He looks like he's about to vomit there. It's just not a good time if you're Chris Adams. If you're in there with a really young Ultimate Warrior or Dingo Warrior, as it were, in this iteration of things, not a good thing. The crowd doesn't quite know what to do with any of this. We kind of end up seeing a count-out victory for the Warrior, and then we go to the main event of Buzz Sawyer, Matt Bourne versus Mark Youngblood and Brian Adias. That is after, I mentioned earlier, the Kerry Von Erich Super Destroyer match from several years ago just to fill time. Certainly, it would go without saying that Adias is a staple and guy they can kind of count on. Tag off, Youngblood comes in on the arm and wrist of Matt Bourne with the double axe handle from the second rope. Youngblood hasn't been around in a couple of weeks, but he's kind of a mainstay. I will say that the top heels, or maybe second from the top heels, would be Sawyer and Bourne at this point in '86, which I had no recollection of before watching. It's great to go back and watch territories you hadn't before because you learn stuff. What I'm learning is the value of Matt Bourne prior to the Doink and Big Josh and that whole character run. So, interested to see other versions of him in the territories when they cover Mid South eventually and other things that way. Um, but that's really cool. Back elbow by Sawyer. Apparently, for a while anyway, Sawyer and Bourne were friends. From what I read, they did have a falling out. Both of them have substance abuse issues, so I'm sure that didn't help their social interactions with each other. And big snap suplex on Adias by Bourne, floats over, gets a near fall. Doesn't get all he wants out of it, but gets enough, breaks the match down into a bit more of the slower style for a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Belly to belly suplex by Bourne, doesn't get what he wants on the victory there. Shows great frustration, goes to a front face lock, does Bourne, and then the match breaks down even further. A hair pull from the outside by Sawyer, and a 3 count off an elbow drop. Amazing victory there. Bourne and Sawyer with your victory off an elbow drop win as we close the 23rd of August 1986 version of World Class. And as we go into September, it is clear to see that the best days of World Class probably behind the promotion, but we'll continue to pledge on anyway, right here.